Welcome to Kaleidoscope for Becoming Better and Brighter on Purpose. I'm your host, Celeste Emelia Mattingly, psychotherapist, quantum healing facilitator, coach, and instigator of your sacred soul-level evolution. Kaleidoscope for Becoming isn't just a podcast, it's a frequency for empowerment, a prayer in motion, a call to rise. Here we explore truths, tools, and transmissions for the evolution of consciousness, blending science, soul, and sacred strategy. Our goal is to help you heal, activate, ground and balance, awaken, and embody your luminous self. So, take a breath, open your heart, and get ready to become the change and make miracles an everyday happening. Let's evolve together, better and brighter on purpose. Hello, and welcome to this episode, The Power of Willingness as Seen Through the Lens of the 12 Codes for Becoming Better, Brighter, and Wiser. Before we begin exploring the 12 codes of the evolutionary trajectory, I'd like to invite you to consider a simple yet profound question. What is the greatest catalyst for lasting human transformation? As a psychotherapist for almost 3 decades, I have asked that question thousands of times. As the creator of celestial psychology, I've spent many years deepening my understanding to become more helpful to those seeking meaningful and lasting change. Over countless therapy sessions, I've watched people, including myself, experience remarkable insights only to return to familiar habits a few days or weeks later. I've watched extraordinarily intelligent people remain stuck and give up. In 12-step recovery circles, there is a saying, some people are too smart to get sober. I've also witnessed that lasting transformation rarely begins with talent, book learning, or even insight. I've also noticed that people with greater financial resources often struggle just as much or even more to change deeply ingrained patterns. Meanwhile, others with far fewer advantages quickly transform their lives. Those things certainly help, but none of them can be sustained without continued willingness. This brings us to another well-known slogan in 12-step recovery. Lasting change requires honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, the how of recovery. That simple insight has proven remarkably profound and reveals deeper patterns. Honesty does give us the courage to see ourselves clearly. Open-mindedness can allow us to learn something new, but willingness is what allows transformation to continue, and only continued willingness keeps us walking the path. It takes willingness to even begin to consider change, and when willingness is present, remarkable things become possible. Conversely, when it is absent, even the greatest insights struggle to take root. For many years, I understood this intuitively through my work with clients, but while developing the 12 codes of the evolutionary trajectory, another realization gradually emerged. Willingness is the catalyst that activates all the 12 codes, and continued willingness creates an upward spiral that transforms occasional breakthroughs into enduring ways of living. Looking back at our previous podcast episodes, I can now see a thread that I didn't fully recognize at the time. We explored the ancient symbol of Hunab-Ku and the concepts of conscious evolution. We explored the story of genius making and the extraordinary capacities that already exist within each of us. We've reflected on recovery, resilience, synchronicity, and the lifelong journey of becoming better, brighter, and wiser in purpose and with purpose. At first glance, those seemed like very different conversations, but today I see now they are all quietly pointing toward an extension of my life's deeper considerations. I have stated for years that consciousness raising is the greatest change agent. In 2012, I even gave a presentation with that title at a health festival. Today's discussion looks at the greatest catalyst, and the 12 codes provide the architecture for making change and inspiring us to intentionally participate more fully in our development, raising our consciousness along the way. Now, when asking how do we actually change, how do we improve our quality of life, how do we become people who are no longer governed by yesterday's habits, we can answer with willingness. Every meaningful transformation begins with willingness. Without willingness, there's no learning. Without willingness, there's no healing. Without willingness, there can be no becoming. As you will see, the 12 codes of the evolutionary trajectory are not commandments, personality traits, or rigid stages that everyone must pass through. They are developmental capacities that can be intentionally cultivated with willingness. They form a practical framework for becoming better, brighter, and wiser on purpose and with purpose, raising our consciousness. Each code strengthens a different dimension of our humanity. Each has its own archetype, archetypal illumination, and an evolutionary sigil that gives the capacity a living face and offers a symbolic doorway into deeper reflection. And it is with continued willingness that moves it all forward. Last month, this realization inspired me to create the video I affectionately call The Willing Ones, which I invite you to watch on my YouTube channel. Everybody loves it. In the next segment, I will introduce each of the 12 codes and show you their stunning corresponding archetypal illuminations and intriguing evolutionary sigils, inviting you to explore them more deeply with their corresponding living field guides available on Amazon Kindle. Let's begin. The living practices of becoming better, brighter, and wiser on purpose and with purpose are quickly summarized by this list. Adapt, remember, strengthen, persevere, align, embody, expand, imagine, soften, collaborate, belong, share, and reconsider. The codes in the Living Field Guide series number 1 are the foundation codes: change, continuity, and competition. Together, they invite us to establish the ground upon which everything else is built. The first foundation code is change. Change invites us to adapt. Notice the flowing movement of change's evolutionary sigil, inviting us to contemplate the endless rhythm of transformation. The archetype for change is the phoenix. In this archetypal illumination, the phoenix reminds us that every ending carries within it the possibility of a more luminous beginning. The second foundation code is continuity. Continuity invites us to remember what endures. Allow your eyes to follow the uninterrupted pathways of continuity's evolutionary sigil, reflecting the invisible threads that connect all of life. The archetype for continuity is the ancient tree. The ancient tree depicted in this archetypal illumination embodies the wisdom of honoring deep roots while continually reaching toward new growth. The third foundation code is competition. Competition invites us to strengthen what is worthy. The balanced geometry of competition's evolutionary sigil reflects the disciplined refinement that strengthens what is worthy. Competition's archetype is the warrior, and in this archetypal illumination, the warrior teaches that our greatest victories are achieved through the mastery of ourselves. The codes in the Living Field Guide Series 2 are the stabilizing codes: commitment, coherence, congruity, and complexity. Together they help us remain steady as life becomes increasingly complex. The first stabilizing code is commitment. Commitment invites us to anchor into purpose. The quiet power of choosing the path again and again is represented with a steady progression in commitment's evolutionary sigil. And commitment's archetype is the pilgrim, seen here in this archetypal illumination, devotedly walking along, heading into the sunset. The second stabilizing code is coherence. Coherence invites us to harmonize with truth. Notice how separate elements within coherence's evolutionary sigil unite to form a harmonious whole. The archetype for coherence is the conductor. The conductor depicted in this archetypal illumination is reminding us that coherence arises when the many parts of our lives begin working together in harmony. The third stabilizing code is congruency. Congruency invites us to be a true reflection of our deepest values. The symmetry of congruency's evolutionary sigil invites reflection on alignment between our inner knowing and outward expression. The archetype for congruency is the mirror. In this archetypal illumination, alignment reflects the quiet integrity that develops when our thoughts, words, values, and actions become one. The fourth stabilizing code is complexity. Complexity invites us to expand our perspective. Complexity's evolutionary sigil invites us to reflect on intricate patterns without trying to solve them. The archetype for complexity is the kaleidoscope. This archetypal illumination celebrates complexity with its stunning patterns and ever-turning views, reminding us of the beauty of diverse perspectives. The codes in the Living Field Guide Series 3 are the heart codes: creativity and compassion. These codes awaken the deeper capacities that make us fully human. The first heart code is creativity. creativity. Creativity invites us to imagine new possibilities. The unfolding design of creativity's evolutionary sigil helps us see infinite possibilities waiting to emerge from imagination into form. The magician is the archetype for creativity. In this archetypal illumination, we see that creativity is not reserved for artists, but for all creation, as it is the evolutionary art of bringing the invisible into reality. The second heart code is compassion. Compassion invites us to soften into connectedness. In compassion's evolutionary sigil, we see gentle curves inviting us to soften without surrendering our strength. The healer archetype naturally embodies compassion. The healer demonstrates that compassionate presence is often the greatest gift we can offer one another. The codes in the Living Field Guide Series 4 are the Collective Awakening codes, Cooperation and Community, and they remind us that no one evolves or ascends alone. First code in the Collective Awakening is cooperation. Cooperation invites us to collaborate for the good of all. In cooperation's evolutionary sigil, we see interwoven pathways creating strength through connection. Cooperation's archetype is the weaver. In this archetypal illumination, the weaver shows that individual lives become more meaningful, beautiful, and resilient when woven together. The second collective awakening code is community. Community invites us to belong and help others belong. This circular movement of community's archetypal sigil reminds us that every person has a place within the larger whole. The archetype for community is the circle. Depicted in this archetypal illumination, the circle teaches that true community is experienced wherever belonging is intentionally cultivated. The only code in the Living Field Guide Series 5 is the code of communication. Communication invites us to share what uplifts, informs, and unites. Communications evolutionary sigil radiating design symbolizes countless ways our presence influences the world around us. Archetype for communication is the messenger. In this archetypal illumination, we are reminded that every word, every action, every life becomes a living transmission. Together, these codes form a living ecology, a living field of human development. And now let us enter the living field together with the invocation of the 12 codes.
Invocation of the 12 sacred codes. Beloved source of all becoming. Ancient intelligence woven through time, stardust, and soul. I open my heart to the sacred spiraling. 12 codes of the evolutionary trajectory. May the code of change awaken my willingness to become. May the code of continuity weave my awareness across generations, timelines, and lifetimes. May the code of competition refine my strength, resilience, and adaptive brilliance. May the code of commitment anchor my purpose and strengthen my resolve to persevere. May the code of coherence harmonize my inner and outer worlds. May the code of congruency align my thoughts, words, and actions in radiant integrity. May the code of complexity expand my perception to embrace life's deeper patterns and hidden order. May the code of creativity ignite my imagination and empower me to make the invisible visible. May the code of compassion soften my heart and dissolve the illusion of separation. May the code of cooperation awaken the wisdom of shared purpose and mutual flourishing. May the code of community root me in soul-centered belonging and conscious participation. May the code of communication awaken me as a clear and loving transmitter of truth, wisdom, beauty, and hope. May these sacred codes awaken within me what has always been waiting to emerge. May I remember that I am not separate from the universe. I am the universe awakening to itself through me. May my life become a living expression of these evolutionary principles. May my presence become a blessing to all whose lives I touch. With humility and gratitude, I accept my place within the great unfolding of evolution. I willingly choose to participate consciously in creation itself. May I continue to become better, brighter, and wiser on purpose and with purpose. So may it be. And so, I rise.
Welcome, and thank you for entering the Still Point session room with me. This sacred space has revealed itself to be a space where the still point can be reached experientially so that change has a chance to emerge. The space. The atmosphere is calm, nurturing, and free from demands or expectations. Within this presence-rich setting, many people discover something remarkable. As external noise quiets, internal wisdom becomes easier to hear. What once was rigid begins to soften. What seems confusing becomes clear. New possibilities emerge. Infinite possibilities emerge. Some people experience deep relaxation. Others report a sense of renewal, clarity, inspiration, emotional release, or unexpected insight. Many simply describe feeling more like themselves. The Still Point Session Room incorporates subtle environmental elements that support a coherent, stabilizing atmosphere. While each person's experience is unique, the intention is always the same: to create a field of support where your own natural intelligence can do what it already knows how to do. It all started with celestial psychology and has since evolved into the wonder-filled world of celestial empowerment, complete with an array of services and talented colleagues. Across my work, you'll see repeating symbols like butterflies, mandalas, and kaleidoscopic designs. These aren't meant to be taken literally. They're visual ways of helping the mind settle and notice order. One of the symbols I work with is called Huneb-Ku, often described as the galactic butterfly. I don't present it as something to believe in, but as a pattern for contemplation and a visual reminder of balance, coherence, and return to center. This symbol fits naturally with my latest work, Kaleidoscope for Becoming, because everything here is about the same process, improving our quality of life with energy, light, information, frequency, and vibration. The wonder-filled world of celestial empowerment offers a vast array of services: psychotherapy, coaching, intuitive counseling, teaching, shamanism, spirituality groups, a variety of energy healing modalities, and even 2 tachyon chambers for anti-aging and healing meditation sessions. All designed to support grounded personal and spiritual growth, especially during these times of transition, uncertainty, rapid change, and ascension. Check out our website to get to know my colleagues and me, and take a quantum leap into a future of peace, harmony, balance, joy, and ascension. Improve your quality of life by learning to live better and brighter on purpose and with ever-growing purpose through direct participation in your own becoming. We look forward to supporting you on your journey. Thank you for joining me on Kaleidoscope for Becoming Better and Brighter on Purpose. If this episode stirred something in your soul, share it, subscribe, and step deeper into your becoming. And remember to tune in every second Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Time and 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the new Transformation Talk Revolution channel, where you are invited to revel in your becoming more awake, more aligned, more luminous, and more powerful every day in every way. Remember, this isn't just a show, it's a prayer disguised as a podcast, and together we are evolving on purpose. For more information about the array of services offered by me and my esteemed colleagues, visit our wonder-filled world at www.celestialempowerment.com. We look forward to serving you.